Hey there, everybody. This is Big S, Matty Ice. Twitter handle Big Sexy 2710, three X's because I get a little off color sometimes. Doing a video for my car because that's what the cool people do now on Twitter. These muscleheads that kind of post some videos in their car that I enjoy. I actually follow a couple of them. But I wanted to do a video because I'm kind of missing out on some of my favorite wrestling pods lately. State of Combat with Brian Campbell and Adam Silverstein have gone off the air. So a bunch of us, State of Combat fans, we go back and forth tweeting about our ideas and our thoughts about wrestling. So I just wanted to get something out there on video. I'm pretty bad at public speaking, but I thought maybe sitting in my car behind a phone lens might be a little better. My name is Matt, if I didn't say that before. I'm a 37-year-old man I live in North Haven, Connecticut right now. I've got a wife and a almost 2-year-old daughter. I've been a wrestling fan for probably close to 30 years, so a good portion of my life that I can remember. Best wrestler ever is Bret Hart, followed by Ultimate Warrior, but that's just because I'm, the kid in me. Just wanted to kind of go through the state of wrestling at the moment. I think it's probably better off now than it has been in 20-something years, obviously because of AEW and all the other competition, I think, out there. The biggest thing right now, I think, is the women's division with all the different belts and different people vying for championships right now. Right now, obviously, Charlotte Flair trying to figure out who she's going to battle at WrestleMania is the biggest thing. They're kind of leaning towards it's going to be a Rhea Ripley match. Who knows if someone else will be in it? And that kind of last week made a little bit more sense with Becky and Shayna Baszler looking like they're going to have a match as well. So the only one right up for grabs is Bayley, and the biggest rumor is Bayley versus Sasha, which to me makes absolutely no sense. Sasha's been off TV for like over a month now. I know she's been injured. Even if she wasn't injured, turning her back face or turning her super heel and Bayley back face makes absolutely no sense. They just went heel in the past 6 months, something like that. I honestly don't know. Bayley I can care less about. Sasha I've loved since she came on board. I remember seeing her in a small gym here in Connecticut maybe 7-8 years ago, something like that, getting beaten up by a dude nonetheless. But if she doesn't get injured anymore, she does have the potential to be one of the better wrestlers there's ever been in the women's division. Charlotte is there. I think a lot of it is her size, so it just gives her a little bit of an advantage. Her versus Rhea should be great. Rhea's obviously super young. She's got a long future ahead of her. She's good on the mic, which a lot of these women aren't. Charlotte is really good. Becky and Sasha are also good. Bianca is getting there, and that's probably about it. I could care less about Shayna Baszler. I'm not a fan of these MMA people coming into wrestling. Brock Lesnar's a little different kind of a beast, pun intended, I guess, because he's been in the wrestling now for 20-something years almost, or just about. I think he came in 2002. But then, I'm just gonna kind of roll off the tongue here and kind of go a little bit by bit. I don't really have a structure. I wrote something down last night, but I'm not good at following that. But I mentioned Brock, and it looks like he's gonna be facing Drew McIntyre, which I think that match is gonna be great. It's the first time Brock's had like a really a guy his size that he's gonna battle. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, yes, but I think those guys are just different kind of characters. Drew is actually like a badass. Roman Reigns, we all know, is just kind of this generation's John Cena, where everybody likes to crap on him. He's an okay wrestler. One of the things that I don't like about Roman Reigns is how with a lot of these wrestlers they have these planned moves where he does and he is going to give you the Superman punch, or he does the Samoan chant when he's going to spear you. That kind of stuff gets me. The RKO, that's why it's great, because out of nowhere, literally, except when he has to mention it every promo as well. So that's not something I care about. Right, the Randy Orton Edge feud is going to be phenomenal. Jack Crosby said that should be the main event of WrestleMania. I think that probably as a wrestling match, and I had a feeling it might not be a wrestling match at this point. It's probably going to be something like a no holds barred, or they might even throw a cage or some kind of weaponry in this. That it might be just like a bloody mess, which is going to be great too. I think both of them are like great characters, great personalities, which again leads me to another topic about current younger wrestlers. Very few having like a character. I saw a brief clip of the Undertaker talking to some guys yesterday, where he said, you know, you go out there and you do 2 flips in a match. The next time you go out there, they're going to want to see 3 flips. The next time you're going to go out there, you want to see 4 flips, rather than people building on themselves, their character, their personalities. And you know, Undertaker lived the gimmick. I'm sure a lot of you have watched the Stone Cold interview where he said he literally lived the gimmick for 30 years. He barely did any interviews. He would go, if he was out in public, he'd be wearing the full garb. You didn't see him in like t-shirt and jeans like a lot of people do now. And I know we've gotten a little bit more reality based. There's not as many characters in the business right now, but you still can have a personality and have a ring persona that lives outside of the ring, rather than just be a guy. And I love watching Ricochet in the ring. He's great in the ring. The promo he's getting there. He's probably a C promo at the moment, but he's one of those guys where like outside the ring, you don't even know he's a wrestler. He doesn't really come across as a wrestler. You had people in the past like Mick Foley, Stone Cold, Undertaker, even like all of DX, all of, you know, Hogan, Nash and Hall, those guys. Outside the ring, you knew they were wrestlers. They lived the gimmick enough. And Hogan still lives the gimmick to this day, where you knew they were a wrestler because they spoke about their character in their third person. They didn't, you know, nothing like they do nowadays, which I like. I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff, but it's just nothing that I think you kind of lose something on the television part of it. And again, I'm just gonna spew. The other day, WWE released that John Cena is going to be at Raw. I think I don't know if it was this weekend, or I'm sorry, SmackDown. I'm not sure if it was tomorrow or next Friday. And I get that they need to build ratings. I haven't looked at ratings. I'm sure they're terrible because SmackDown is terrible right now. You have like 2 storylines that give a shit about anything, and then the rest are just like garbage. And it sucks because you have Roman and Corbin, who are both great, Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, who are both great. Hell, even this Mandy Rose storyline with Otis, which is phenomenal, you know, for his fat guys and a beautiful blonde chick. I'm sure it'll end like all wrestling romances do, and she'll kick him in the balls and he'll lose some match or something, but whatever. A couple months ago, I long played that to being like a 3-year storyline, which would be great. But I get the point of trying to get ratings. You're not going to sell seats for John Cena. Maybe you'll get a couple hundred seats. People are going to go to SmackDown. I'm sure they're pretty sold out. I'm not sure where it's being where it is next week. But they release so many announcements ahead of time. John Morrison a couple months ago. There's others. I'm just drawing a blank right now. But one of the biggest things in wrestling that is great, and why I watch it, is the surprise, the wow factor. At Royal Rumble, Edge came out, and I didn't even care about Edge when he was popular 15 years ago, but I felt that in my bones. Like I had chills when his music hit, and I watched that replay like over and over and over and over again. Because it's just like the Cena moment at Rumble in 2001, I think it was, or 4, I don't know, when at MSG. And I don't even know if I watched that live, but watching it over and over again, seeing his reaction, hearing the fans' reaction, if it's piped in or not, whatever. But still, the overall reaction to that is just great. You know, when Ultimate Warrior came out and beat the Honky Tonk Man at whatever the heck that was, WrestleMania or not. Again, I was too young to watch it live, but I've seen that clip now many times where he just runs out and beats him in like 8 seconds and whatever. But the wow factor is what we're missing right now. I know you can only have so many with so many freaking hours of television right now. I'm a married man with a toddler, so I don't exactly watch a lot of wrestling live. I try to watch Monday Night Raw live. Because it's been a staple for 20 years in my life, way longer than that. But and then I'll try to get to NXT. Like last night, I don't even think I watched the whole thing. I think I fell asleep because I don't start it until after my wife goes to bed. So I watch it at like 10 o'clock, and I fast forward through commercials or some slow parts. Because I'll admit, I don't always watch every single match. I try to watch all the promos, any interviews, because that's where you're building a little bit more of the storyline and the feuds and characters. But I don't need to watch every single match to know how it's going to go. Again, this dwells on some of the older wrestlers where you didn't know how the match was going to end. You didn't know that they're going to do these same 6 or 7 moves every match. Roman Reigns, you know he's going to do his same 3 or 4 moves. You know Randy Orton's going to do the same RKO and the DDT, just like Dean Ambrose used to do this stupid thing under the turnbuckle. And you know the Usos are going to jump over the ropes every match. And just they all, I can go through them all. I'm sure they all have 2 or 3 moves. You know they're going to do every single match. I heard, I think it was my boy, the hedging Adam Silverstein, mentioned that it was nice seeing Becky Lynch win a match without a finisher the other day. I think it was like a DDT, I forget exactly what, when she beat Asuka the other night. And that was different because it wasn't the disarmer or anything like that, or any of her other moves where that's how she usually wins, and there was no disqualification to show she won with like a different move, which is nice. You know, I mean, when I grew up in the 90s, you would see these guys win a random match by, I don't even know, a power bomb, a frog splash that they never did, or just submitting from like a Boston Crab. Maybe not Boston Crab, but I miss some submissions. The sharpshooter, best there ever was. But yeah, what else? NXT, the Undisputed Era is great. I think they're gonna bomb on a Monday or Friday night. I think where they are now is great, similar to Shayna's girls in NXT, Marina and whatever the other one was. I only know Marina because she was talked about last night because she's Roddy's wife. I don't know if the tag team there from an Undisputed Era is going to do anything on the main roster. Roddy Strong, he's older. I've seen him in local gyms too, and he's a great wrestler, but I don't know how far he would get on one of these other shows where it's a very limited time. Adam Cole, obviously, I think he needs to build some more muscle. I hate to say that. There's so many guys that are small, but I know his character is great. But I don't know if that will transcend over time. Maybe, the Bebe thing will live on forever, similar to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's not a big guy either, but I think he's bigger than Adam Cole. Who knows where that'll go. Keith Lee, I remember seeing it again. I feel like Jack Crosby here. I saw him in a gym maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I didn't know who he was. It was the first time I saw him. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? And then by the end of the match, we were all cheering for him, obviously, because you could see his athleticism. He's great in the ring, and now he's getting better on the mic. I think his gimmick is a little corny, but they'll get there. He's young, and he's too good to not do well in this business. All right, well, I think I've touched base on a few different things. I've gone on for 13 minutes, which is longer than I thought I'd be able to talk without screwing up. I'm sure if I watch this back, I might have a lot of errors. I'm looking out because I don't like looking at myself. I didn't want to like not see myself to make sure I wasn't at least facing the camera some of the time. Let me know what you think. If anybody else feels like jumping on a call or anything like that. I thought about trying to do like a podcast, but it seems a little bit more difficult to do that. I know I could upload this video to YouTube and post it probably this morning. I don't know anything at all about uploading podcasts or anything like that, but I've posted plenty of YouTube videos, so I may have to start a new account because I don't remember what the hell I've posted on my personal one, but I might just post this directly to Twitter if it's not too long. I'm not sure how that works. But a shout out to some of my State of Combat guys. We got Black Saber Jr., my old Talkbox, Bob Backlund, Vape with Victor, Mark of Magnesia, On Board Brother, who am I missing? Not Keith Lee. We got the Furl. That's my real life friend, but he doesn't really add anything on Twitter lately with us, but who knows, maybe I'll get him on here or do something like that. And it's obviously a shout out to Brian Campbell, Adam Silverstein, Nick Costos, even though he's not on the pod anymore. Well, the pod that just ended. Jack Crosby. And then just a shout out how I got into podcasts a couple years ago. I'm a big fantasy football guy and sports in general. So I'm an ESPN website. I go on there all the time, and I've stumbled upon probably 10 years ago now articles by the Masked Man, David Shoemaker. Eventually he had a podcast. Cheap Heat, That's the first podcast I listened to. I still listen to Cheap Heat now with Peter and Stack Guy Greg. I listen to the Shoemakers podcast on the Ringer still as well. But that's how I got into podcasts, and the whole, those three podcasts are pretty much the only ones I've listened to. I've dabbled in a couple other ones and don't really like them any as much. State of Combat was great. It was formatted. Sorry, a little congested. It was formatted great. You had different, every week you had different segments for the most part. It was a little different back in the day where they had a lot more segments, with Costos especially. But that was different than Cheap Heat, which Peter and Greg are similar to me, where they don't know as much, they don't watch as much, so they're a little bit more casual. So it was nice hearing that perspective, and kind of, Peter has the in, but seeing how they felt about the shows that we've all watched. And then obviously Shoemaker, who is just a freaking mark, and he's brilliant, and he has all the knowledge in the world. And hearing that side of it with different guests every week, whether it was a celebrity or his producer. But I like listening to that too. Just three different kinds of podcasts. What I'm doing today is just, I felt like spewing. I posted a tweet the other day about the stupid John Cena being released, the announcement, and I didn't like it at all. I said I wanted to slap Vince McMahon, or I punch Vince McMahon. And after a couple people mentioned that they kind of probably need it, and it probably helps ratings, and no one's watching SmackDown as it is. I've probably, in the 4 months it's been on, I think I've watched it live maybe twice. Friday nights I'm not out anymore. I said I'm married with a kid, but still I'm doing other stuff. But I don't make it a priority. I'll see highlights on Twitter. I'll go through and I'll flip through what I recorded. I'll go through. I'll watch the first segment. And I'll sometimes catch the last segment live, and I'll look for the Mandy Rose segment. If there's a Dana Bryan segment, and that's probably about it. So I get having to release some information, some the spoilers so you have people watch John Cena. Who knows what he's going to do? There's many possibilities out there. There's so many rumors. So many people don't want all these guys from NXT to come up and have a WrestleMania match. Riddle or Goldberg or Keith Lee or Dijak or Adam Cole. There's so many. So yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'll do this again. We'll see what people say. I'm gonna watch it back, see how many errors I have. I may just post it without even watching it again and see what people say. Let me know what you think. If you feel like you want to talk about wrestling in a more organized format like this, let me know. But for now, I'm out.